Hey, hello everyone. Myself Juman Ali, and I'm an aspiring strength and conditioning coach. Currently, I'm pursuing MSc in strength and conditioning. So here today, I come up with a topic where we'll be learning today about muscle contraction, how the muscle contraction occur, and how many types of muscles or fibers are there, and what are the role of the muscle fibers. Okay, we're gonna learn about that. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so before we get to the muscle contraction, let's learn about structure of the muscle, skeletal muscle. Okay, so if you know the structure of the skeletal muscle, then only you'll be able to learn the muscle contraction theory. So let's learn about that first. So this is a, let's say this is a muscle coming from the thigh, okay, hip joint. Okay, it's a, let's say it's a quadricep muscle. Let's take example. So when the muscle is attached to the bone, attached with the help of a tendon. Okay, so now tendon, and there's a deep fascia here. You can see. Now, this is the muscles, okay? The muscle have an outer layer on it. There's an outer layer, okay? Thin outer layer on it, like a skin, thin layer on it. Okay? That's called epimysium. Okay, you can see that the thin layer, white color layer here. That's called epimysium. Okay, and the inside that epimysium, this whole area you can see is covered full with perimysium, and this is one fascicle. So these things are called fascicles, single fascicles there, okay. And this portion, this without the fascicle area, is called perimysium, okay. And you also have blood vessels here, these dots, blood vessels. Now, let's say one fascicle also have lots of muscle fiber and endomysium. Okay, so again, over here the gap area is called endomysium, and these solid things that look solid is are called muscle fiber. Okay, muscle fiber. Now, one single muscle fiber also have like there are like thousands or more than thousands of myofibril. Okay, myofibril, and the outer layer of that muscle fiber is called sacrolemma. Okay, this white area you can see. Okay, and one myofibril have two filament, which is actin and myosin, and they both call them a myofilament. Okay, so this is structure of a skeletal muscle. You should know. Okay, and now we're going to know about how this skeletal muscle contract. Okay, when you go for any kind of movement like bicep curl or tricep extension or like quadricep extension, like hamstring, knee extension, leg curl, all this stuff. So when you go for contraction, what happens over there? Okay, how this get contraction happens? Let's move on. Now, now this theory, this process is called sliding filament theory. Okay, the contraction of the muscles is this process or this considered theory is called sliding filament theory. Okay, so I'm going to read this and then I'll just like explain you about this. Let's read it. The following steps details the series of the uh, events that occur in muscles contraction. One, an action potential passes along with the length of the neuron, leading to release the excitatory neurotransmitter acetylcholine (ACH) at the neuromuscular junction. When the neuron is at rest, ACH is stored at the axon terminal of the neuron within the structure called synaptic vessels. Synaptic vessels. It is the action potential that leads to release of stored ACH into the synaptic cleft between the axon terminal of the neuron and the muscle fiber. Okay. So what does it mean? It means it's down here. This area is a neuromuscular junction. Okay. Now, when this neurons, this area is called synaptic vessels. Okay, And these synaptic vessels contain ACH. You can see this dot dot dot. This is ACH. Okay, and this fold is called synaptic vessel. This when it is rest, when the muscle is at rest, it stores here. Okay, but when the signal comes from the brain that you need to contract now, that signal comes here and it triggers this synaptic vessels to release the ACH on this synaptic cleft. This vacant area you can see, this is area is called synaptic cleft. Okay, so this synaptic vesicles comes here and release the ACH here. Okay, now when get released, when this ACH release, what happened now? We'll learn that. Okay, so the ACH migrates across the synaptic cleft and binds with ACH receptors on the motor endoplate of the muscle fiber. What does it mean? It means when this ACH release, this migrates, they travel along this, and these are the ACH receptors. You can see these things, this blue things area, these sides, these whole things, they are ACH receptors. Okay. When this ACH migrates and comes here, these receptors, they bind with the receptors. Okay? They get binded. This ACH binds with the receptors, and then what happens? After that, so this leads to generate of an action potential along the sacrolemma of the muscle fiber. In addition, this action potential will travel to the interior of the muscle fiber via T-tube, triggers to release the stored calcium from the sacroplasmic reticulum. What it says that when these things, you can see these things, they get binded. Okay, they get binded. When this get binded, they create an action potential. Okay, they create an action potential, and these action potentials travels through these T tubes. The T tubes here, this action potential travels through T tube to the sacroplasmic reticulum. Okay, what does sacroplasmic reticulum have? They have stored calcium ion. Okay, they have stored calcium ion, and that triggers the sacroplasmic reticulum to release an calcium ion from it. Okay, now I'll read it first and then I'll explain. Once it released into the sacroplasm, the calcium migrates. It migrates and binds with the troponin molecules located along to the length of the actin filament. Now, what it says? It says okay. So what it says? It says that when these T tubes, this actin potential travels to the T tube. As I said, this cytoplasmic reticulum have calcium ion. They triggers the calcium ion. They triggers the cytoplasmic reticulum to release a calcium ion. Okay. So one calcium ion released from here, and then this calcium ion they migrate. They migrate and they binds with troponin. Okay, the troponin here. Okay, so let's see this first. This is one myofibril as showed in this other picture. Okay, this myofibril have, as I said, two filaments, actin and myosin, in this area. Okay, so actin and myosin, they look like this. Okay, this is myosin and this is actin. Okay, this looks like this actin and this is myosin. They stay like this always. Okay, you can see this area. They always stay like this. Okay, so what does it do actually? That calcium ion, as I said, that calcium ion comes and binds with troponin over here. Okay, and when they bind, there is a discomfort. You can say conformational change happen over there. I'll say that. Okay, let's go for this first. Okay. Okay, this quick point is the binding of the calcium of the troponin causes a conformational change in the shape of troponin. Okay, Because the tropomyosin is attached to the troponin, this moves tropomyosin such that binding sites on actin are exposed to the myosin heads. Okay, so what does it mean? It means that when this calcium ions and binds with troponin, there is a conformational change happen in the actin filament. Okay, when that happens, that binding site with that myosin head get exposed. Okay, let's say this is actin filament and this is myosin filament. Okay, so this let's say these are called myosin heads. Okay, the my fingertips, and they get what this once they get exposed, these binding sites of this myosin head get exposed. When that happens, there is a chance like then they get attached. How they attached, I'll say that. Okay, I'll just read it out first. Where is it? Okay, yeah. So when a muscle is at rested position, okay, state, the myosin head is usually energized. That is, it is storing the energy released from the breakdown of ATP to adolescent diphosphate, ATP and inorganic phosphate. When the binding sites on actin are exposed to the myosin heads, it is able to attach, forming cross bridge and attempt to pull the actin filament towards the center of the sarcomere. Whether it is successful at pulling and those shortening of the muscles depends on the amount of force generated by the cross bridge that is pulling and the external force that is oppose the cross bridge. Okay. So what does it mean? It means when there is a attachment. Okay. So once the exposed sites binding side exposes the myosin head attached. Okay, and they pull. Okay, so they pull this way. Okay, they pull in this way. Okay, this is the binding side. They get cross bridge formation here, and then they pull this side towards the M bridge. You can see this is the bridge towards this side. Okay, so they pull towards the M bridge. Okay, now this work will happen only when so there is not only one cross bridge formation happening, right? There are lots of thousands of cross bridge formation happening over there. Now, this work will happen only when the load or the force of the object is less than the force creating by the cross bridge formation. So let's say if you're doing a bicep curl, okay, this bicep muscles, they have to create such force that they can lift the object. Okay, so force of the object has to be less than the force creating by the cross bridge formation. Not only one cross bridge formation. Now what about the second repetition? Right. So for the second repetition, you can say here, after pulling the actin filament and the myosin head is now in a low energy state. Okay. So once the cross bridge formation happened, they already pulled. Then what happened? The myosin heads have a low energy now. They already given the energy. Okay. In order to cause the attachment from the actin filament as well as the energize the head, a fresh ATP molecule must be bound. Okay. Once it is bound, the myosin head detached from the actin and the enzyme myosin adolescent triphosphate ATPase causes the splitting of the ATP molecule. This once again energizes the myosin head. If the binding sites on the actin are still exposed, the myosin heads once again form a cross bridge within the actin with actin again attempting to pull towards the center of the sarcomere. This process will continue providing that the muscle fiber is being stimulated and contracted by motor neuron. So what's happening here? Over here what's happening? Let's say we are done with the one repetition, one contraction happened done. Now it has to we're going down again, okay, for the second repetition. Now for the second repetition, myosin heads are already in a low energy state. Okay, it has to be energized again. So because to make that myosin head energized, we have to break another molecule of ATP. Okay, once the molecule of ATP breaks, the energy release, that energy goes to the myosin head and get energized. Okay. So when the machine has get energized, until then, if the binding sites are still open, if the signal goes from your brain again and again the full process happens, and again there is a conformation change happen in the actin filament. If the binding site is still open over there, then it again make a cross bridge. Okay, the myosin heads again make a cross bridge, and then again it's attempting to pull. Okay, like this, one repetition, two repetition, three repetition happens. Okay, again all the process, the same process, they face the same process like from beginning to the end, and then like till 10 repetition, 12 repetition, whatever repetition you're doing happens like that. Okay, still here clear? Now, if you think about this, how this ATP breakdown formation happening and all, then you have to look to my previous video. I've already discussed over there how this ATP breakdown happening with energy system and all. Okay, so this is how the muscle gets contracted. I'll say again, you can see this picture. I must have already explained this area. Okay, let me know if you have doubts. I'll clear that. Okay, comment me below if you have any doubts. I'll reach out to you. Okay, now next we'll learn about types of muscle fiber, okay, in the body. It's not one type. Okay, there are two types of muscle fiber. Okay, one is called slow twitch, one is called fast twitch. Okay, now so type 1, type 2, you can also say that your bodies normally uses slow twitched muscle fiber to power muscles. Fast twitch muscle fibers are mainly only used when the body needs the make sudden or more powerful movements. So on this one only you can getting a sort of idea that slow twitch muscle fibers, we always use slow twitch muscle fibers for small movements. Okay, when the body needs a massive energy, massive force, then the fast twitch muscle fibers comes in action. Okay, so energy use, slow twitch muscle fibers, slow twitch muscles are uses energy slowly and fairly evenly to make it lasts a long time. Okay, this helps them contract or work for a long time without running out of power. Fast twitch muscle fiber use up a lot of energy very quickly, then they get tired, fatigued, and needs a break. So what's happened here? Energy used by the both of the muscle fibers is very different. Okay, slow twitch muscle fibers use energy very slowly. They need very less energy to work. Okay, so that they can last for longer time. Fast twitch muscle fiber, they need massive energy together. They need very quick energy, like for explosive movements and all, like power movements, explosive movements, all this stuff. They need very massive energy. Okay, and they get tired very quickly because obviously there's lactic acid formation happening and all. So yeah, you must have learned in the previous video the energy system. Okay, so that gets getting fatigued and they needs a break after that. Intensity and duration. Slow twitch muscle fibers powers low intensity activity. This is because they need a steady, evenly supply of energy. In comparison, fast twitch muscle fibers works when they need a big burst of energy. As I have already explained, the intensity of the work has to be low and massive. So the slow twitch muscle fibers, they work on a low intensity workout, like long distance run, slow and steady cardio you're doing a marathon running, slowly you're running or walking. That time when you're using slow twitch muscle fiber, where this intensity of the work is less. Okay, but if you are comparing with the fast twitch muscle fibers works with the like when there's a need of massive energy, big burst of energy needed. That time, fast twitch muscle fibers works. Like when going for explosive movements or like snatch or clean or maybe sometimes any power movements like squat jump and all. That time we need those. Okay. Blood vessels, muscles with more slow twitch muscle fibers. Muscles with more slow twitch fibers have more blood vessels. This is because they need a good and constant supply of blood and oxygen to let them work for a long time without getting tired. fast twitch muscle fibers don't need as much blood because they do their own quick source of energy. Okay, I mean blood vessels, there are very less blood vessels in fast twitch muscle fiber, and there are more blood vessels in slow twitch muscle fibers. Because slow twitch muscle fibers, as I was already explained, that they need less intensity. They are always working on a less intensity workout, right? And when there's a less intensity workout happening, that means they are going in a aerobic state, kind of aerobic state happening. And aerobic energy system, what they do, they need oxygen, right? They need oxygen to build ATP. Okay. So where they'll be needing oxygen, that means there is oxygen, also glucose as well sometimes. Okay. No, not sometimes only, they always. They also need oxygen and glucose. So they need more muscle fiber, blood vessels on that muscle, okay, slow twitch muscles. But whereas in fast twitch muscle fibers, they don't need much blood vessels because they don't need oxygen. They already have stored ATP. They already have, and also they are when they build ATP, they build without oxygen. Okay, in aerobic energy system, we have learned that we don't need oxygen on that. Okay, they build ATP without oxygen. So because of that, fast twitch muscle fiber, they don't need much blood vessels on them. Okay, now oxygen needs, so as I already explained, that slow twitch muscle fibers are aerobic energy system. This means they run out, like always run on oxygen. Fast twitch muscle fiber mainly an energy system that doesn't need oxygen, which is an anaerobic energy system. Already explained that. Okay. Appearance, how they look like, the bigger blood supply of the slow twitch muscle fibers can take them a look redder in darker. Okay. That means when there's a lot of blood vessels are there in the muscle, that means what? They get more red, right? Because bloods are red and they're dark. So the more red and dark muscle is, that means it is slow twitch muscle fiber. And other one, other hand, muscle fiber more faster, like more fast twitch muscle looks like lighter, and because they don't have much less blood, because they don't have much blood vessels. Okay, I mean they look little bit lighter. If they're not dark, they will be lighter. That means this is fast twitch muscle fiber. Okay, now let's learn about what are the activity you can do. Okay, so fast type muscles, like that of fast twitch muscle activity. Okay, fast twitch muscle activity, fast twitch muscle fibers activities are like running, sprinting, like fast running, running or not really, sprinting you can say, jumping, boxing, skipping rope, lifting weights, all these stuff, like all the things which is included in like massive energy. Okay, on that you can go for the fast twitch muscle fiber. Or whereas in the slow twitch, you can just sitting up, even you are sitting, you are need energy. Yeah? Standing, walking, slow jog, running or marathon, or biking, like slow biking, swimming laps, something rowing. Many yoga position also need that. Some Pilates exercises. So whenever you need less energy but for a longer time, that time slow twitch muscle fibers comes in action. Okay, but when you're doing a lot of activity where there's a like massive energy needed, jumping or explosive movement, sprinting, that time you need fast twitch muscle fibers to come in action. Okay. Here I'll say, see, there's this muscle. I just remember. I was also reading an article that China, they always before they put someone into athletics, they first find out which type of muscle fiber they have. Okay. So like if an athlete, let's say any uh, athlete which is just starting to join in a particular sports, first to discover what type of muscle fibers they are dominated with. Someone might have more of slow twitch muscle fiber or more of fast twitch muscle fiber. It depends on the person to person. Okay, so if an athlete have more slow twitch muscle fiber in the body, that means what? They tend to go for long duration exercises. Okay, that means like anything on this, like rowing, like running, marathons, or anything, swimming, all these stuff. Okay, So if you can find out that you have a slow twitch muscle fiber, more of slow twitch muscle fiber in your body than fast twitch, that means you will be tending to go for more endurance exercises. Okay. But whereas if you have more of fast twitch muscle fiber in your body, in that case you can go more of like explosive exercises like sprinting, like powerlifting, boxing, like that. Okay. So, and obviously, with the help of the training, you can change some of the muscle fiber, the programming, and all. We'll go about that later on, but we'll learn that later on. But in that case, with the help of the training, I just for your knowledge, you can change some of the muscle fiber, but not fully. Like let's say 5% can change to like from fast twitch to slow twitch or slow twitch to fast twitch, but not all. Okay, so if you can like China is doing they're very great because of that only they're winning so many medals in Olympics. So if you can discover the things fast, then you'll get to know which type of activity you should do. But obviously, with the help of the practice, you can go on. Okay. So that's all for today, guys. Thank you all so much. If you are really liking this video, if you're getting some knowledge, please like and subscribe the channel. Okay, and I'll come up every week with one video, like one topic to discuss with you all. And if you want me to discuss in any other topic, just let me know in comment. I'll go for that. Okay. Thank you. Have a good day, guys. Bye bye. Take care.